So the worst kept secret is most certainly out. At the end of last year, there was a news report that went out that said we're going to be moving to a place 2.5 times bigger. And when that was said, I was really hopeful that would happen. And I think it's about to happen. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about that throughout this video. So you're going to have to watch to be able to find out where it is. But before we can talk about the future, where we're going as a Healthy Strides Foundation, we need to actually understand where we've come from. I'm going to give you a bit of a summary of all of that. So Healthy Strides, we were founded 4 years ago on this idea from researchers to make a difference, to make the world a better place. That's kind of why you get into research. It's why you do it. It's to make lives better. And for us, the idea was humble, but actually really big. It had a grand vision. So the fact that we had a very small space in a very small environment actually didn't mean that we had a small mind of thinking. We actually had a big vision, and it was supported by so many researchers and health professionals, and most important, families. Families are the ones that really drove us to make this happen. So research is most certainly in our DNA. And whether it was, creating and testing new ideas like Kindy moves and CP move time, or implementing research into practice, which is represented by all of our clinical programs that we provide, or whether it's closing the loop and actually communicating research, a really vital component of research is making sure we can communicate it. And it's actually really challenging to do so because so much of the research is kept behind paywalls. You've got to pay for it. And it's really hard to get access to the information that researchers are reading. So we've got to do a better job. So for us, it's about creating posts and videos like these, and even the podcast that we launched last year. It's all about communication. And that has definitely stirred up some robust discussions, and that's actually really cool. It means people are watching our videos, they're reading our content. That's wonderful. It was so robust that some health professionals here made complaints to us, to our registration board, about the comments we made on social media regarding the current state of the evidence. And whilst that was all thrown out, by the way, there was no further actions to have happened from that. We were given a clean bill of health, which was fabulous, and we already knew that. It told me a lot. It told me that continuing to communicate research is really important. We've got to keep doing it because people aren't able to access the information they need to be able to make informed choices. The human body has always been the same, but the information that we know about the human body has changed. Over the last 50 years now, we understand how the brain works. We understand more than ever how we can then create therapies to help the brain to change, which is the process of neuroplasticity. So therapies that are still locked away in these traditional ways of thinking back 50 years ago, well, there's actually better ways of doing it right now. There's better ways of harnessing the current knowledge based on thousands of researchers' work. Even therapies that were released just last year, based still on the understanding of the human body back 50 years ago, are still being released. So we actually need to understand that research has come a long way. We understand so much more now. And we, as Healthy Strides Foundation, are unashamedly evidence-based, which means that we will only implement practices that we know are based on current knowledge, not on the traditional ways of thinking. Now that's just what we do, and we will continue to communicate that. And for you as families, it's about making an informed decision. It's about having all the right knowledge, and you need to have the right knowledge on both sides. You need to know what the current evidence says, and that is what's going to help you to make your decision. So what does this mean for where we're about to head? Well, our new venue has to be a place where it allows us to create and test new research ideas so that we can have better therapies. That is so important. We need to have a place where we can implement current understandings, and the whole point of that is participation and inclusion. That is the core of why we do what we do. We don't do lots of therapy so kids can be better in therapy. We do it so that kids can be part of our community, with their families, with their friends. That is critical, and we need to be in a place where we can continue to communicate research.
Healthy Strides is only 3 years old, but there's such a need. It's about to move to a space 2.5 times the size.
So our new place isn't just 2.5 times bigger, it's actually bigger than that. It's super exciting. It's going to house an Australian paediatric first, and that is still under wraps, but we will tell you about that very soon. And we're going to have a place where it's nestled in the heart of a community in the town of Victoria Park. We have been so intentional about finding a place where there's pathways, where you can walk to the shops, to cafes, to restaurants, to the playground, to the park, where we can use walking frames and where we can use bikes to move about, because that is task-specific practice, that's inclusion, that's participation. It's not about just being confined to a therapy environment where we're looking at artificial platforms or boxes or things that you balance on in that setting. It's about real life settings, and we've found a place that allows us to be able to do that. We have found a place where I think families will really enjoy, and it will be a world-class centre. The heart of why we're doing what we're doing will remain, but now we're able to actually carry it out to make a true difference, not just here in Perth, but across the world. And you can tell that I'm super excited about it. We can't wait for it. So all you need to know for now is it's a big place. Research is in our DNA. We'll continue with that. We'll continue down this path, and you're going to love the new place. And it's coming soon, so watch this space.